Hi, my name is Cora Nyaban with matrix number 72167, and this is the introduction part of our report. Now, designing or proposing a solution to a problem is crucial in engineering by using the analysis of machines and mechanisms. Now, the analysis of machines and mechanisms is the study of motions of machines where it focuses on the application of kinematic theories to real-life machineries. Now, machines are devices that accomplishes a specific objective by altering, transmitting, and directing forces. Mechanisms is the mechanical portions of the machines that carry out the functions of transferring motions from a power source to the output. Now, there are two types of analysis of machines and mechanisms. The first one is analytical analysis, and the second one is graphical analysis. Both of these analyses can be used to determine whether the mechanism is appropriate for the design, or it is also can be used as a safety factor to make sure the design doesn't break or fail. So in this project, a problem arises in a hospital regarding the accessibility of patients to wheelchair in the situations where they needed it immediately without the presence of nurses. This problem arises also because of cost restrictions, where only one nurse is allowed to be around one patient. Now in this project, we were assigned to design a wheelchair that will solve this problem. Our design wheelchair is visioned to allow patients who have an easy access to the wheelchair on their own, and also reduces the need of nurses to be around them at all times. So in our project, we have used a simulation software to demonstrate the mechanisms of the wheelchair that we have designed.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Connery. Today we're going to talk about the methodology. So, what is the thought process behind our team design? Alright, as we can see here, we initially proposed to do a foldable chair, but along with the discussion, we reject the idea because it will give a lot of inconvenience to the nurse. So we move to a better approach, which is using AI. So what comes to mind when you think of AI? AI helps a lot in many industry. They replace hard labor so that workers doesn't need to do difficult tasks. In this case, in the hospital, the staff of the hospital reduce the reliance. The staff of the hospital will not have to multitasking, as AI can take their place in certain kind of job. So plus AI technology is not that expensive, so it will reduce the cost by the hospital. So what do we think when it comes to the product design and development? Since the hospital are crowded and then in terms of the space in the building, we kind of head towards a small but very compact wheelchair. Compact as in there's a lot of support and balancer to the wheelchair to achieve a greater stability. Why? Because we think that it will not cause issue to our patient, as the wheelchair also can support them. Next is comfort. We prioritize comfort in the design also. We will greatly ease the pain of the patient during emergency. And last but not least, we use the Arduino chipset because it is easily programmable and they can be added with a lot more components. So the comfort factor of the wheelchair. This wheelchair has semi-reclining seat which provide comfort to people with bad posture or experience back pain. There are a lot of cases where sitting upright can be really painful, and the way to ease the pain is by helping them to lie down. Next is the tire. We use a puncture-proof tire because the tire is shock-proof, able to absorb shock and have a balance of comfortable and smooth, easy to maneuver also. Last is the height adjustable and angle adjustable footrest, which we take account of patient with broken leg, because that helps them to feel comfortable sitting in a wheelchair. I'm going to talk about the Arduino Uno now. It is a chipset powered by a 5-volt battery. The circuit, as you can see here, is completed with sensors, Bluetooth, and control logic. The Bluetooth enables the wheelchair to be operated from phone. Meanwhile, the sensor and GPS tracks the location of the hospital.
Hello, my name is Amrul Lukman and I am the designer for this project. So today I will talk about the specifications of the wheelchair. So I will talk about the specifications of wheelchair. There are 4 wheels installed to maintain center of gravity and to reduce chance of toppling. The wheel has the same diameter for all 4 wheels. This is to make sure that the center of gravity is at the center of wheelchair, and so that there are lower chance of toppling when a patient is using the chair. Secondly, the wheelchair has 2.5 horsepower on all-wheel drive and can move patients of up to 100 kg. The third one is there are a right-hand side controller to move the wheelchair position. The patient can move the wheelchair any way they want by using the controller given on the wheelchair. The fourth one is multi-gear is used for the wheelchair to adjust speed. As you know, multi-gear can be found on bicycles, and this is to reduce the power usage of the wheelchair engine that is powered by electricity, and so that it can conserve their energy when their wheelchair is supposed to go to an inclined plane. And also, as you know, the wheelchair has the ability to move at any speed of up to 5 meters per second. So next slide. The wheelchair is powered with 80 ampere hour 12 volt rechargeable deep cycle batteries. Comfortable cushion and padding on the seat is also installed to give comfortness to patient sitting. And also, the tires installed on the wheels is all-terrain tires. So if the patient wants to go anywhere, it can be used on all conditions, such as roads, sidewalks, or a park. And also, it has an external remote control for any movement. This is for the wheelchair to move itself to patient's position if the patient wants to use the wheelchair anytime. So this is the 3D view of wheelchair. This is the left view of wheelchair. This is the back view of wheelchair. And this is the front view of wheelchair. I want to let you know that this wheelchair has a connecting rod between the tires. So for this one, for the experiment of wheelchair, it was conducted by using working model, and the design is scaled to mimic the actual model. So by using working model, I built a plane that is 40 meters, and I set up the speed of the wheelchair of 5 meters per second. So this experiment is started from the front until the end of the plane. So when I conducted this experiment, I saw that the time was 46 seconds for the wheelchair to complete its journey. So therefore the wheelchair is aligned to move the need of nurse, as it could move patient fast and ready under a minute with 30-meter distance between both patient and wheelchair. So with this 30-meter, the wheelchair can go below than a minute for a 40-meter road. So I suggest that it is compatible with the needs of the nurse. So that is for my part. Thank you.
Based on the simulated design, we have proposed a wheelchair that is automated by an Arduino hardware. It is a simple smart wheelchair prototype that is modern and also compact. We have included the footplate and the push handle similar to any standard wheelchair. Now there will be toggles at the arm of the wheelchair to move the wheelchair forward and backward. The use of Arduino chip as the hardware to control the movement reduces the reliance on manpower and also reduces the expenditure in taking care of patients. Now by using AutoCAD, this is the diagram that shows the mechanisms at the wheels of the wheelchair. The wheels uses a double crank mechanism to rotate the wheels at the back when the front wheels is rotating due to the motor. This will ensure that the movement of the wheels will be uniform and no failing occurs. We have also included the kinematic diagrams of the mechanism shown. Now in these mechanisms, there are 4 links and 4 joints. After calculation is made, the degree of freedom that we obtain is equals to 1. This means that the mechanism is constrained and can only move in one direction, so it can move either to the front or to the back. Now this mechanism is considered as an active degree of freedom because it is the only mechanism that is responsible to move the wheelchair to the front or to the back.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Shafi bin Yusuf and I will explain about the second part of the discussion. So, the other mechanism of the wheelchair do not affect the input and the output motion, and therefore the degree of freedom of the wheelchair is not taken into the calculation. This is due to the adjustable seat feature is considered as a passive degree of freedom, where the main objective is to provide comfort for the patient with the back problems, as it is important for them to maintain a healthy posture while sitting down. And the adjustable height and angle of the footrest feature is also a passive degree of freedom, whereas the main objective is also for the comfort of the patient. Then both of the height of the seat and footrest feature uses a slider crank mechanism to raise or lower them. So we have discussed to fully analyze our design, and we have concluded the diagram and the kinematic diagrams of the mechanism in the seat of the wheelchair. So I will show you the diagram. This is our diagram of wheelchair seat, which the crank is connected to the motor is a slider where the motor will be responsible to push and pull the arm away or towards it. This is our kinematic diagram of the wheelchair seat, and as you can see from the kinetic diagram, there are 7 joints and 6 links. So the degree of freedom of the wheelchair seat is calculated as shown. So we get 1. Thus, the degree of freedom of the wheelchair seat is also 1, which means the only one movement is restricted, either upwards or downward. For the proposed wheelchair, the velocity when no one sitting on it is 5 meters per second. From the simulation, the wheelchair can travel at a distance of 30 meters within 32 seconds. The material used for the wheelchair is aluminium to ensure that it is lightweight, even with the motor included, so that it is easy to be carried around. But the maintenance of the motor may be a bit costly, but we don't think that it will be overshadowed of the other advantages of the design wheelchair. And the tire of the wheelchair that are used are puncture-proof tire, so that to avoid from them to deflate when it moves around to sharp object in the facility area. Alright, the gear used for the motor in the wheelchair is multi-range gear. The reason why this gear is used is to give convenience for the patient to move slow or fast according to their needs. This also to ensure that the safety of the patient for them to sit down and move the wheelchair at a safe speed. Also, this gear is also used to increase the life cycle of the motor operating the wheelchair and also act as a preventive maintenance so that the motors will not break down fast. If one speed gear is used when the patient is moving uphill, the work done by the motor to move the wheelchair will be much higher as the gravity pushes the patient back while the wheelchair is still climbing up. That's the example. And another advantage of this multi-range gear is it is used less power on the battery of the wheelchair, thus giving the wheelchair a longer battery life. The other gears that we have used, this is the chain ring, is commonly found on the bicycle. Then the relative step of the chain ring, say it is 35%, is typically around 3 or 4 times of the relative step on the cossack, say it is 88% or 10%. Example, chain ring 3953 and close range cossack 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 21, or 12, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25. This is the example. And this arrangement provides much more scope for adjusting the gear ratio to maintain a constant speed at any surface and elevation. But any change of chain ring must be accompanied by a simultaneous change of 3 or 4 sprockets of the cossack if the goal is to switch to the next higher or the lower gear ratio. Alright, in conclusion, with the power of the innovation, science evolved in a new era which is greatly put the mankind to ease. And with the existing of the AI technology, many labor can be replaced which reduce the reliance of the human power. And as for our case, the patient can have easy access to the wheelchair on their own. And basically, the nurse can have the access to the wheelchair with a touch of the fingertips. And there is no additional manpower needed just to go back and forth to provide a wheelchair, and the design of the wheelchair proposed using a mechanism that is known as a double crank mechanism to move the wheel with the aid of the motor. This will ensure the movement of the tire that are uniform and will not lead to any further problem. That's all. Thank you.